You're watching Utah's #1 news channel. This is 2 News at 10.
Well, is it art or vandalism? An investigation underway after a woman leaves her mark, so to speak, inside a number of national parks.
But first,
there's nothing that can express what we feel about this. Nobody wins in this. We both have lost. But the memory of Heidi will stay with us forever.
a guilty verdict in the case of an Orem man charged with killing his wife. And tonight, emotional reaction from the victim's family. Good evening. It is a verdict that took jury members 2 days of deliberations to come up with.
Yeah, Conrad Truman guilty of murder and obstruction of justice in the shooting death of his wife, Heidi.
Daniel Woodruff live in Provo tonight. And Daniel, what did the family have to say?
Well, obviously, Mark and Shauna, they're very emotional tonight, but also very relieved. It's been a really long journey for them. Remember, it was more than 2 years ago that their family member, Heidi Wagner Truman, was found dead in her Orem home. It took almost a year, I should say, for prosecutors to charge her husband, Conrad Truman, with that murder. And now tonight, at the end of a very long road, we're hearing from the family.
I'm so thankful to everyone. Thank you so much.
Tears of joy and sadness as the Conrad Truman murder trial comes to an end.
Something that we've suffered through and grown from.
After deliberating more than 15 hours, a jury convicted 32-year-old Conrad Truman of killing his 25-year-old wife, Heidi, 2 years ago at their Orem home. He was also found guilty of obstructing justice. Heidi's family has waited a long time for this day.
God, that it's over. This has been a 2-year journey, grief journey, and it's so hard, but we knew that the truth had to come through.
Prosecutors argued Truman shot his wife point blank in September 2012 after an argument. Truman said he and his wife had spent the evening drinking and watching the TV show Dexter about a serial killer.
Ultimately, we're here to stand up for victims whose voices can't be heard, and Heidi's voice was silenced 2 years ago.
The defense had argued Heidi accidentally shot herself after getting out of the shower, and that prosecutors failed to prove that Conrad Truman pulled the trigger. In the end, though, the jury disagreed.
I'm disappointed, my client is. He maintains his innocence, but we accept the jury's verdict because we believe in the jury system.
Heidi's mother and sisters say they're grateful they still have the memories of their loved one. They say they plan to continue to promote awareness about domestic violence.
And Heidi will be there with us every step of the way.
So Conrad Truman set to be here in court December 15th to be in front of a judge to be sentenced. He faces 15 years to life just for the murder charge alone. Mark and Shauna.
All right, Daniel, thanks very much.
Well, Sandy, police now say they know the name of a man who tried to sexually assault a woman at a community swimming pool. Investigators released these images here of the suspect a couple of weeks ago. After getting a number of tips, the man has now been identified as 41-year-old Alex Ernesto Bustamante. At the time of the attack, he lived in the Easttown Village apartment complex near 15 East and 8330 South State. The day after the attack was made public, police say he quit his job and moved away. A felony charge of forcible sex abuse has been filed against Bustamante, but investigators are still searching for him. Anybody with any information on where Bustamante might be is being asked to call the Sandy Police Department.
A hiker put photos of her alleged vandalism all over social media, and now investigators from the National Park Service are on her trail.
Yeah, the woman posted the pictures of her so-called art at 10 different national parks, including 2 parks right here in Utah.
Christina Flores with more on this story. And Christina, she calls it art. The National Park Service calls it vandalism. Sounds like she could be in some trouble.
Yeah, putting either art or graffiti on rocks at national parks is a federal crime. Investigators were first alerted as to this woman's pictures when outdoor enthusiasts saw the pictures online, then started spreading them in hopes of tracking her down.
I do not think that she did this innocently.
This is the hiker who could be in big trouble after she left a trail of pictures on social media that show her so-called art on rocks at 10 national parks, including Zion and Canyonlands in Utah.
People are really, really mad about this.
Casey Schreiner posted the pictures on his website, modernhiker.com. Other hikers who know the park started spreading the pictures, trying to figure out the identity of the alleged vandal who signed her art Creepy Things.
From there, we were able to find out contact information for rangers for all the parks so that we can let them know that there was graffiti in their parks.
The National Park Service is now investigating. At Zion National Park, a team of rangers was sent out to look for the rock that was defaced.
I don't see it as art at all. I see it as complete vandalism.
The rangers will take pictures as evidence, then clean the rock.
At Zion, we get about 3 million visitors each year. So imagine if 3 million people left their mark.
I thought, shame on you. What are you thinking?
Vicki Varela promotes Utah's national parks for the state of Utah.
5 national parks.
She says anyone who defaces national treasures like Zion or Canyonlands cannot be ignored.
They should prosecute. The rocks are the art. You don't go painting acrylic stuff on the art.
I hope that she's brought to justice on this. I hope that that she is given a harsh fine and is maybe banned from national parks for a little while.
The name that was attached to that woman's social media post is Casey Knockett. People online seem to say that she's from the New York area. In any case, Mark, there's a petition circulating online right now, and it asks the White House to make sure that this woman is prosecuted and that she doesn't get away with a slap on the wrist. Back to you.
All right, Christina, thank you very much.
In national news, another security breach at the White House tonight as another man jumped the fence. Fox News cameras captured the suspect trying to fight off Secret Service dogs on the North Lawn. He's been identified as 23-year-old Dominic Adesanya of Bel Air, Maryland. He was quickly taken into custody and then was taken to the hospital. 2 canine dogs were hurt. They were taken to the vet for treatment. Just last month, another man jumped the fence and made it all the way to the East Room with a knife before he was stopped. The Secret Service recently added new fences and posted additional agents outside the North grounds to try and deter jumpers. A terror investigation is underway in Canada tonight following the deadly shooting of a Canadian soldier. The assault began this morning just before 10 o'clock at Canada's National War Memorial. Police confirmed that the suspect drove up and shot the soldier who was standing guard at point-blank range. Gunfire then broke out inside Canada's Parliament building as guards chased the gunman.
I was just taking off my jacket to go into caucus. I hear this pop, pop, pop.
Amateur video is believed to show the suspect leaving the scene and getting back into his car. Eventually, he was shot and killed. Investigators say the suspect is a 32-year-old Canadian citizen who recently converted to Islam. So far, there is no word on a motive or whether the suspect had any ties to known terror groups.
A Spanish Fork gun shop owner raising some eyebrows with a window front display of a target shooting dummy that he says is supposed to be President Obama. Chris Jones looking into the story tonight. Chris, he also has a message strapped to the target's chest.
Yeah, he does. The owner of Quantum Guns, not a fan of the president, and if you ask him, he'll tell you that. So he says he picked this target because he believes it looks like the president to send a very controversial message.
On Spanish Fork's well-groomed Main Street, decorations line the boulevard in anticipation of Halloween.
I don't like it. It's very distasteful.
But one shop
Creeps me out.
is getting more hair-raising response than others.
Trying to infringe on our Second Amendment rights.
Gun shop owner Patrick Meinhardt.
This is the little Remington Model 12.
Manufactures and sells firearms, and now he's serving up a little controversy, too.
Obviously, somebody has some passion about it.
With this.
It does look like him quite a bit.
A blood-soaked likeness of President Obama in Arab-inspired garb, tagged with this sign: Obama bin Laden, the biggest terrorist this country has ever seen.
He's committed more impeachable acts than Nixon.
Meinhardt's opinions.
Honestly, I think that's the only reason he has been impeached is because he's black.
About the president.
It's not about race. It doesn't matter what color he is.
Are, as you might expect.
When Hitler did anything of any importance, he would have children with him. Whenever Obama signs one of his executive orders, he has children with him.
But his extreme criticisms aside, he believes the Obama replica is popular here.
Doesn't offend me. If that's how he feels, that's why we live in America.
We've had a lot of laughter, a lot of people stopping and taking pictures.
And if the president as a blood-splattered, racially insensitive mannequin outside isn't enough, there are more targets, literally, inside.
So the goal obviously is to hit
to hit right here and break the clay pigeon.
And this obviously...
This resembles Obama.
It doesn't bring about a lot of positive. I think there's a lot more positive ways to send a message that they're trying to send.
Tonight, Meinhardt is unapologetic about his imagining of Obama, and the likeness will stay put, just like some of his more controversial opinions.
Was Obama born in Kenya, you think?
Oh, yeah.
And his birth certificate is fake.
That's fake. That's proven.
So this image has been here in front of the store since July. Meinhardt says he hasn't had any complaints from anybody. Nobody has come into the store to tell him they didn't like it. It really started to blow up, however, today on Facebook when somebody took a picture and posted it on social media. Guys, back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks.
Coming up next, your chance to catch a glimpse of a solar eclipse.
This one is happening right in the middle of the day. Tomorrow we'll let you know when you can see it and what kind of safety gear you're going to need to be able to look at the sky and see this eclipse.
First, some good food and some good company for some kids that need a break. Yeah, some great grub. Tonight we're going to pay it forward at Rich's Burgers and Grub.
And we've got a big storm in the Pacific Northwest, Gulf of Alaska. Well, how much of that storm is going to make it to Utah? I'll tell you in the Fresh Air Forecast. And what about the eclipse? Will you be able to see it through the clouds? The Fresh Air Forecast is next.
Young children should never have to live with a cloud of fear and anxiety hanging over their heads because of troubles at home.
Well, what they really need is love, laughter, and above all, fun. And more than 50 kids with the Utah Youth Village found just that, and a lot of good food and grub when restaurant owner Rich Shalene decided to pay it forward.
Green chili.
The burgers and the buns are flying off the grill here at this Salt Lake City eatery. Owner Rich is doing a brisk business, but on this day, all of this grub won't translate into much money, but something much more important to Rich. Here at Rich's Burgers and Grub in downtown Salt Lake City, they're getting ready for a very special meal. They're preparing it with a lot of caring and a lot of love for some very special kids. These children are in protective custody of the state, and they're here today to put their troubles behind them and feel a little bit of love.
We're serving up some love today, that's for sure. We've got the Utah Village with us today, and we're going to feed them. We're going to feed them for free.
The kids are not just having a great meal, they're bonding and learning social skills, according to counselor Terry Grief.
These kind of activities we love to do with them because it's things normal kids would do who are in regular family settings. You know, we want them to have those experiences. So it's really nice for them to host this for us. The kids have been so excited.
Rich is taking orders, but he and his staff are not just serving up food.
We want to give these kids hope. That's the bottom line. We want them to know that regardless of how hard their lives have been, that there are good things, there are things to be hopeful for, and just come out and have a great time.
Oliver is one of those good things. He was a member of the home until his counselors, Steph and Dave, quit their jobs and did something amazing. They adopted him.
How did that all happen?
We just couldn't say goodbye. We love him too much.
Now you're mom instead of
Yeah.
counselor or...
Yeah, I'm mom.
What does it mean to you?
All the world. I love it. I love him.
I was adopted by Dave and Steph. They used to be the group home parents, and so they quit their job so I could be their son.
And looks like Rich has a new family too. While he was busy cooking, the kids were busy making him a very special thank you banner. We want these kids to have more opportunities for fun, food, and love. So Terry Grief and Rich, time to meet Sterling Nielsen of Mountain America Credit Union.
Well, it looks like you have lots of fans here by the look of that. Hey, this is great work. Thank you for doing this. We want to see more parties out here. We want to see more of this going on. So here, pay it forward with a little $500.
Congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
Terry was thrilled about the food and her love for the home.
I love them. I just love them. I've been with the village for 24 years, and I just love working with the kids.
And you can work with the kids too. If you'd like to help the kids at the Utah Youth Village with an activity or maybe some donations, go to youthvillage.org.
Or you can go to KUTV.com and click on the Pay It Forward link. You can nominate someone for a future Pay It Forward segment.
All right, for the second time this month, you'll be able to witness an eclipse.
A solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse.
The total lunar eclipse or blood moon was visible during the early morning hours of October 8th, but tomorrow you can see an eclipse in the middle of the day.
Yeah, our Chris Miller joins us from the Clark Planetarium. And what are we going to be able to see, Chris?
Guys, this is a partial solar eclipse, and you'll be able to see it right smack in the middle of the day. Experts say the best time to see this will be between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock. What are these, you ask? These are my special viewing solar glasses. You're going to want to have a pair of these if you plan on looking at the eclipse tomorrow.
It would look as though there's a bite that's been taken out of the sun.
Mike Murray from Clark Planetarium explains a partial solar eclipse.
The moon is slowly starting to cover over the face of the sun because it's getting in between.
The moon comes between the Earth and the sun once a month, but rarely casts its shadow.
You've got an awful lot of distance to cover that shadow coming off of the moon is going to be moving. And so it can easily pass below or above the Earth entirely.
Because the sun is much larger than the Earth and the moon is much smaller, the shadow created from a solar eclipse is small and when visible can only be seen from certain points of the Earth.
From right down here about in Mexico and all the way up to the North Pole.
It's the third time this year Utahns can witness an eclipse. Some woke up in the early morning hours a few weeks ago to see the total lunar eclipse, or blood moon.
And there will be 2 more lunar eclipses next year, so we've got a lot of eclipses to look forward to.
All right, so the very best time to witness this partial solar eclipse tomorrow is at 4:30, I'm told, and you better have a pair of these. If you don't have any of these, you can stop by the Clark Planetarium tomorrow during daylight hours. During open hours. They're about $2 a pair, and you can't see anything out of them unless, I guess, you're looking at the eclipse. So.
And they're safe enough to really look up there and see that, huh?
Apparently. I don't know that I would wear my Ray-Bans, even though they say Ray-Bans. I don't think they're good enough.
No.
I wouldn't take the chance, probably. All right, Chris, great story. Thank you.
Yeah, Sterling, you got to have that eye protection. You can't just stare up into a solar eclipse like that. So.
Yeah, it's pretty important, actually.
Yeah.
You really do have to have it.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, you can pick these up at the Clark Planetarium, and there's actually, you can head over there tomorrow morning. You can get a pair of those. We'll see how they look on Shauna in just a minute. Hey, some temperatures this morning, 22 degrees in Evanston. Pretty cold there at Aspen Elementary School, 23 in Colville, Camas down to 26, Green River 28. Now, this is just a preview of what may happen next week. We have an even colder storm we're watching for next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the week following. So that's a long ways down the road. We'll see how it all plays out. But also, some temperatures were pretty warm today. Down in the southern end, Mesquite, Nevada, 84. Bluff down in southern Utah, southeastern Utah, 80 degrees. 78 in Monument Valley, Orderville, 77. Moab, 77. Enterprise, 72 degrees. So we did have some nice weather out there today across the state. And even the temperatures here along the Wasatch Front at 62 degrees felt pretty nice. Right now outside, we do have pleasant conditions, but it's already dropped into the 40s, 49 degrees. Dave Fox is already complaining and it's too cold. A little southeast breeze at 6 miles an hour. And the high temperature today, 63. That was only 1 degree above the normal. And you can see it was a pretty normal day. The record is 80 back in 1915. And you can see all of these 40s that we've got across the state tonight with those crystal clear skies. We do have some high clouds out over Nevada, and Elko is still at 50 degrees. You can see those high clouds right here on the satellite picture. This is a pretty big storm up here in the Gulf of Alaska. The cold front is making its way inland across the Pacific Northwest. Very cold temperatures behind it. And look how far out this thing stretches, way out into the Pacific. A couple of storms. Now this one could be a player for not this weekend, but the following weekend. We'll be watching this whole storm system, which really isn't going anywhere for the next several days. Look at all the rainfall that's moving into the Pacific Northwest tonight. There's plenty of it, and it's going to be a stormy day across the northern Rockies and some snow as well across the northern Rockies over the next couple of days. 74 in Provo, 71 in Manti. Another gorgeous day tomorrow across the entire state, and temperatures actually headed in the upward direction. Look at all this sunshine across southeastern Utah. Temperatures in the 70s, overnight lows in the 30s and 40s. Not terribly cold. 80 in Mexican Hat. 84 in St. George, 83 at Zion National Park. That is one gorgeous day. 71 in Nephi, 71 in Delta. Now, as you get farther north, you will start to see those high clouds, and that kind of makes a chalky look to the sky. So I think by 3 o'clock, there'll be some clouds, but you'll still be able to see the solar eclipse. You just won't be able to get a completely clear view of it. Temperatures in the next 7 days down in southern Utah look pretty nice. 80s for a couple of days, in fact, all the way through Saturday. And then things start to cool down on Sunday down into the 70s, but still not terribly cold, but it will be a little bit windy Saturday and Sunday. For Salt Lake City tomorrow, 42 degrees, clear skies, a little bit chilly, but the winds will be light. Should be a gorgeous morning, great start to the day. And by afternoon, those high temperatures will be climbing into the 70s. Remember, our normal high now is 62. We're going to be up to 72, 75 on Friday, 77, and windy on Saturday, with those overnight lows dropping into the 30s. On Sunday and Monday, we'll see much colder temperatures, and the highs will only be in the 50s. So we are going to see a big change, but not a lot of storminess. There'll be some showers on Sunday. Shauna, do you want to try these on? See how?
Sure, do I?
Take a look.
You
Let's see
look
how
at
you look.
Max
Guaranteed
Hunter.
forecast while Sean is getting those on is 72 degrees.
I can't see anything.
And hopefully we'll get a look at that eclipse
All
tomorrow.
I see is my eyelashes.
That's the point.
That's the point.
But if you
Blocks
look at the
everything
sun
out.
tomorrow with that, you
Excuse
will
me.
see the eclipse.
Those look like the glasses from
to know.
Fat Man and Little Boy. That
Yes,
movie
they
we
do.
were talking about. No, but
Can I
seriously.
borrow these tomorrow?
Sure.
Oh,
They're
great.
yours.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very stylish, Shauna.
Thank you.
You need heart-shaped ones.
I know.
Okay, coming up next, the Utes gearing up for a big nationally ranked battle, and Coach Kyle Whittingham says Travis Wilson will be his starter this week. But Southern Cal coach Steve Sarkisian says he's got another theory of how Utah will use their quarterbacks. You'll hear that next. Plus, Real Salt Lake wraps up the regular season tonight. Why this game could determine their playoff plans when we're talking sports.
Enter to win a big screen TV and a sofa recliner in the Talkin' Sports Game Zone. Presented by your local Ford stores. Live from Tunnels. This is Talkin' Sports.
And he is delivered into the gap. Both runs are going to score.
Oh boy, game 2 of the World Series. Royals explode for a bunch in the 6th. Salvador Perez, you saw him double in 2 runs. Omar Infante, a 2-run blast. Completely opposite of last night's game. Royals even the series with a 7-2 win over the Giants. As Real Salt Lake heads to the postseason, they're currently in the 4th spot, which means that wild card matchup, but they could move up to 3rd if things go their way. And that begins with a win in tonight's season finale, hosting Chivas. 36 minutes, Sabo gets a PK after he's taken down in the box, and he drills it, his 8th goal of the season. Kyle Beckerman added a 2nd goal, and RSL wins at 2-0. You're going to hear from Beckerman in Talkin' Sports coming up. RSL needs Dallas to lose or tie this weekend against Portland to move up. There are only 2 college football games this entire weekend in which both teams are nationally ranked, and one of them is right here in Salt Lake City. 19th ranked Utes hosting 20th ranked Trojans. Kyle Whittingham decided not to fool around with his quarterback situation, announcing Monday that Travis Wilson resumes the starter's role. USC coach Steve Sarkisian envisions an option we haven't seen yet.
There's a chance both of them could be on the field together too. You know, I mean, the Thompson kid is a really athletic guy, could probably play another position, so we're aware of that as well. So we just gotta, play the hand that we're dealt with whatever they line up in, and then go play.
Travis Wilson has all of the tools. He has all the tools. The thing that will take him to the next level, and we talked about this earlier this season, is the ability to manage pressure, and he hasn't managed the pressure very well yet.
All right, Talking Sports tonight. It's Wednesday, the Great American Football Panel. I'm just warning you right now, one of their picks will absolutely shock you. It did me. I've never seen this happen ever out of this group. So join us for that. Talking Sports coming up next over on KMYU. And by the way, it's the final week for Thursday Night Football here on Channel 2 and CBS for this season.
That's a good one, too.
We're going out with a bang. Chargers battle Denver. In Denver, by the way. Now, Sunday's doubleheader, Ravens at Bengals, and Mark, you're going to love this. It's followed by the Colts and the Steelers. That AFC North battle is ferocious. They need a win. So there you go for your viewing pleasure. But more immediately, let's focus on Talking Sports coming up.
We will, Dave. Coming up on KMYU right after this show, so don't miss it. A lot more coming up.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll back up if he gets too close.
Uh-oh, look out. Little bit visitor here going for a little shopping spree.
What?
A baby bear cub wandering into an Oregon store.
Looks like a little puppy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Smelling up. This
Yeah.
cub's only about a month old. It appears to be pretty people-friendly. The cuddly cub wandered from aisle to aisle. I love this music.
Wait till its
too.
mom shows up.
Until police eventually trapped her in a shopping basket. This bear is only about 13 pounds, which vets say is a little small. Because of her shopping adventures, she will be rehabbed and cared for until being released back in the wild.
Cue the bear on the
next
trampoline
year.
video.
Oh, yes, indeed. You
Yeah,
can
but
never-
That music's going to
She
make us all
barely got to
cry.
know the thing.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, I'll just hide behind my glasses. Never mind.
It's not a terrible idea.
No. Wow.
All right, and finally tonight, a huge chunk of gold is on display in San Francisco.
This is big.
It's reported to be one of the largest natural California gold nuggets ever seen.
This treasure found by a California man who was prospecting for gold on some public land earlier this year. The nugget weighing 70 ounces. It's worth about $350,000 to $450,000. The Butte Nugget, as it's being called, will be on display at an antique show in San Francisco the rest of the week.
Thanks.
Under heavy guard, of course.
Of course. Talking Sports coming up next.
KMYU.
Do it.